Does Corlys's bastard Addam becoming a dragon rider turn the war for Rhaenyra and Team Black?
On Team Green, who you got? Aegon or Aemond?
If you were starving for food and got a head of lettuce, would you eat it? Or would you throw it at the person who was starving you?
We'll answer all those questions and a whole lot more on this week's episode of the Joffrey of Podcast.
I've been very busy. Many important matters require a king's attention. I'm king now. King now. I am king. I am king. I am kiss it. I am kiss it again when I return. Your fingers or your king doesn't fingers discuss your battle plan. Each one, but your fingers or your tongue. I am the king. I'm telling mother. Oh.
Welcome to the Joffrey of Podcast. My name's Bubba, and with me, as always, is someone who, when he's trying to become a hand of the king, he's not as subtle as he should be. What's going on? It's Catfish. Catfish, we are breaking down Season 2, Episode 6 of House of the Dragon. We're going to play match games. We're going to do everything, but let's not wait. What is your rating out of 10 for this new episode?
I'm going to give this episode 6.5 out of 10,
Whoa.
what I like to call double Ds.
Double Ds.
Yes, as we all know, double D stands for Dragon Con definition. Before tonight, Dragon Con was something you went to buy trinkets and see people. After tonight, Dragon Con is what a dragon does to you when he pretends like you're cool to ride him, but you ain't. So that's what I gave it, Dragon Con definition. My short synopsis of this episode is,
Sure.
Larys gives a pep talk while Milli Vanilli gets a dragon.
Milli Vanilli. Oh, man, we'll see smoke. Don't forget his number. Well,
Blame it on
your
the
number.
rain
Right.
of fire.
Blame it on house rain. Catfish,
Yeah.
This might be the lowest rating you've given an episode ever of House of the Dragon. 6 point whatever. I lost the point in it.
5.
Kinda
I just
tough.
went right straight to 5. Well, you know, Bubba, I don't, things happen, whatever.
That's true.
People, things happen in people's lives. I maybe I was a little tired tonight, but I didn't feel super jazzed about stuff that was happening. To be honest, it felt like a lot of the stuff that happened tonight was the same kind of stuff. The people aren't happy. Okay, they stepped it up a notch. Daemon is nuts. He continues to be nuts.
Is he
He's
getting
in the same
healthier
place.
because he tried to cheer up his brother in the dream for when his brother was mourning his wife?
Bubba, I don't know, but it has been too long. I really thought we would see Cersei C go today. Alicent, I mean, there was the stepping up of Alicent too. Alicent's storyline. Aemond is like, thank you for your service. Now GTFO. But in general, I don't know, for the 6th episode of a season, it really felt to me like we were stuck in place. That's just me, though, Bubba. What did you think?
Well, Catfish, I feel guilty because I'm going to go the exact same way. I am going to give this episode 7 double R's out of 10.
Double R's?
Repetitive Rhaenyra. Because you're
Oh.
exactly right. Every scene, my counsel doesn't listen to me. Okay, it was spiced up this week with a slap. Okay, this week she tried something and it failed in a different way from other things she's tried. You are right. There is actually a huge debate going on right now in the Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon fandom, where people are calling this season, kind of slow and boring, and people defending it, saying, what are you crazy? You want Game of Thrones season 8 back again? And I think that's a false equivalency, but these scenes are repetitive. There is a kind of, okay, we're here again. And there were times that it really made me think back to Game of Thrones and how in the first season, and I'm going first season, you would have 2 episodes without Jon Snow at all. So they could dedicate that time to kind of somebody's story, like going through multiple beats rather than just here's one beat where they're kind of doing the same thing in 2 identical episodes. They'd have multiple episodes without Daenerys in that first season. And so what's crazy is this is a great show. I love it. I'm going to sing its praises. We are spending our time doing this great podcast, talking to loyal listeners about this great show. And these episodes are long and they're good and there's so much great in them, but there's also so much kind of repetitiveness that where's the new emotional, even if the kind of the play out is the same, where's the new emotional feeling?
Every week we talk about our scene of the week, and I feel like there have been some episodes where there weren't a lot of fireworks, but there was great scenes. And honestly, there was nothing tonight that was that I was like, oh, what a great and delicious scene I would like to revisit.
Well, we always talk about our favorite scenes, the best scenes in the episodes after our first match game. Listeners, as you can tell, we're not as excited and juiced about this episode as we should be. I mean, because let's be honest, this is a great show with great production value, great acting, great scenes, great moments. But it feels like for possibly 2 episodes in a row, we're a bit like Team Black, like Rhaenyra's team. We're trying stuff, but it isn't working. So, hey.
Let's have some of our listeners tell us why they love this episode. What was great about this episode? Right. We want to hear it. We want to be proven wrong. You can always reach out to us at Double PHQ on every single media site, every single social media site there is in the world. You can subscribe on iTunes, not YouTunes, iTunes, everybody tunes. Like and subscribe on the YouTube video. Leave us comments there. You guys are great participators in this podcast. And listen, we ask a lot of our listeners. We ask them to make our podcast funny, which it wouldn't be without them. And tonight, Bubba and I are asking you to help us feel a little bit more positive about this episode. That's all we're asking. We don't ask for much. Just to subscribe and repost and like and do a whole bunch of other stuff. But also you need to cheer, especially Catfish, up a little bit tonight. Bubba, you know what always cheers me up? Is your match game questions, which are great. Okay, well, so let's jump right to one of them. Here we go.
We're going to get right to it. We are cooking with gas. Catfish. Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it blank.
Ooh.
Hey, listeners, do you have an answer? Catfish, do you have an answer to our first match game question?
I do. Hit me with it, and I'll give it to you.
Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it
ballsy. Because he takes that ball and shoves it right into his chest.
Oh, Catfish. Very literal on your answer.
You know what? Sometimes that's all you can do, Bubba. You just have to go. You just got to go right to it. And that's what I did. So, okay, Bubba, I'm going to read it for you now. Are you ready?
Well, hold on. Okay. I'm going to switch it up. We're going to have a little switch up here on the Joffrey podcast. You ready?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at our listener answers, and from Before the Dragon podcast said ballsy.
Yeah. Yes.
Catfish, you matched with Before the Dragon podcast, our good buddies Matt Murdock in the crew over there. Actually, there's so many members of the crew, like Kelly and Nicole. I'm actually going to forget everybody, so I don't want to say all the crew. But wow, good work there, Catfish.
That is, I'm very impressed with myself.
Well, okay, give it to me. Let's hear it.
All right, Bubba, here it goes.
Yeah.
Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it
fratricide. I can't
beat you there, Bubba. I cannot.
No, I'm just glad you liked it. You put these things out. You're like, let's see if anybody laughs at any of this silliness. Listeners, we know we always ask you guys for answers. We already have a match from Matt. This is incredible. All right, Catfish, read it a couple more, and I will give you a couple of the wonderful answers that our listeners gave.
All right, here we go.
Another match.
Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it
malpractice.
Who is that, Bubba?
Can you guess? It's at Dooley's Left Legs
Yes.
on Twitter. Dooley, listeners, let me say, if you are listening to this after the fact and we see it, I'm worried that sometimes you might be afraid to throw out a pitch because you're like, I'll never be as funny as some of those regular listeners. Now, Dooley's is always hilarious, but he's doing this at like 3 a.m. his time on the other side of the pond. But know that Catfish and I give terrible answers, so you don't feel guilty about throwing out an answer you're worried isn't funny.
Absolutely. And what I'm really glad there is that you've not only dissed me, but you've dissed Before the Dragon podcast tonight.
Hey, no, I dissed myself.
All right, Bubba, here we go. Some more from our listeners. Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it
a quadruple D.
Quadruple D?
Threatening Targaryen talking to. That's at Nicholas Fortuna on Twitter. Another brilliant loyal listener.
All right, Bubba, do we have any more?
One more from another. What I feel like, I apologize, I feel like this is a new listener who is really coming through strong. In fact, we got 2 answers, so this will be pretty good. So give it to me. Let's hear it.
All right, Bubba. Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it
an eye-popping affair.
Oh.
That's from at Jaguar Lifer on Twitter. Is that pretty good? That's pretty good. He also gave me one more. So he said, some might call it 2 left eyes.
Oh, man.
Hey, each brother has about 1 eye. That's true. Do you think Aegon will ever see out of that other eye? I mean, it does not look good. It looks disgusting.
Probably not, but I think Aegon's... Oh, it's two, some might call it... Yeah, right. They both lost their left eye, right? No.
Wait, yeah.
They both
lost their left eye. That's exactly right. Left eye was in TLC. They both joined 2LC. Now, Catfish, because we're right here, I do want to say, as we always say, we record this live seconds after the episode's end. Oof. We jump onto it. So I do want to give Jack Klompus, give me the match game one more time. The match game.
All right, I will, Bubba. Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it
Burnside manner. That's at BTMac11, our good friend, our brilliant listener, Jack Klompus on Twitter. Catfish, because you're saying you're having trouble with this particular episode coming up with a favorite scene, I thought we should go to an all must choose. That's the HBO marketing all must choose. Now, normally it's about Team Black or Team Green, Rhaenyra's claim or Aegon's claim. But I thought I would make a more difficult all must choose for my buddy Catfish. Catfish, it felt like for pretty much most of the season, if you had to choose which strong team you were on, meaning Larys's team or Simon's team, it felt like you would be on Larys's team for the beginning part of the season. But these last couple episodes, our bearded, jolly fellow there in Harrenhal, it felt like you've been on Simon's strongest team.
He's been bringing it, but he didn't bring it tonight. He did not bring it.
So
Larys had a lot of action tonight.
He did.
He made a play for Hand of the King. Not only was he rejected, but he was called a toad.
Oh, that's not so good.
And then he goes in and gives the pep talk with Aegon, where, of course, the first thing he mentions is Aegon's leg. Inappropriate. Let's keep your kink out of the hospital room, please. Even that scene...
Yeah,
I thought could have been better, but definitely they put my boy Simon Strong in a corner tonight. So I'm going with Larys. How about you?
I feel like because Larys's pitch to make himself Hand of the King didn't work so well, and because Simon, who literally will talk back to Daemon at any time and still has kept his head and not been cut with a knife there. You know what? I am actually going to give it to jolly old Simon by a hair. This week, I'm on Team Simon. So call me crazy. This time, I'm on Team Simon. Catfish, we have got to get to our favorite scenes. And I know you were down. I mean, I only graded the episode half a point higher than you did.
Yeah.
But even though I'm so tough in my grade, there is, as I keep saying, there's a lot of great stuff here. And it was, admittedly, my favorite scene was 2 scenes about Aemond. We've already talked about his brother bedside manners there. So instead, I'm going to go to his first small council scene. And admittedly, maybe his scene with Larys and Ironrod there later in the episode doesn't really count as the small council because it was just the three of them. And actually, the maester walked in. So there were four there. But I'm going to go the first Aemond, okay, I'm really in charge meeting. Last week, I said, Aemond, he actually might be a good king. But I thought this was filled with terrible answers. He's got this nice big army in the West. And the army's like, hey, we just want to come, but it's because of Daemon's army. We'll wait for Vhagar to march. And he snaps. That is not the right way to react. Why not just go get that army and bring them back? I mean, come on. Then, we don't know enough. We know that the Triarchy in season 1 supported the crab feeder. And we saw the crab feeder and we thought, you got to exfoliate, buddy. But we also thought, this is creepy, this is bad. They're obviously not trustworthy. And here he's like, hey, I'm sick of this blockade. Let's get with the Triarchy to destroy Corlys's ship. Everybody is against it. I'm listening to other people instead of Aemond, and I'm Team Green, and I love Aemond. I want to be on his side. Ironrod, which is, once again, I'm pretty sure bearded guy's name here, or his nickname, I should say, here on Aegon Small Council. He's pitching, hey, the Greyjoys have a bunch of ships. They're not really willing to commit. What if we marry Alicent to the Greyjoys? Now, that is horrific for Alicent, but that actually makes a lot of brilliant sense, especially for Aemond, who wants to get rid of his mom. Send her off and marry her. Aemond then sends Criston Cole off to Harrenhal, once again, not going with him on a dragon. He says he'll come when the time is right, but I really, really thought these were all wrong decisions. And then his stone cold dissing of his mom. He's like, listen, yeah, you don't have a role. He's like, yeah, remind me of what your role is, your place is on the small council. And she's talking stuff. And he's like, well, father's dead and Aegon is, I love how he never says it. He just gives it a, You are no longer obliged. I release you of your seat, much as it was. I'm sure you'll be pleased to return to more domestic pursuits. Oh my God. And then she snaps back at him with the thing we all want to hear. She says, have the indignities of your childhood not been sufficiently avenged? I mean, that is juice. That is meaty. If I had a whole episode of that, I could go 9 out of 10. I could go 10 out of 10. That was a great scene. Oh, no.
But you're saying that he made nothing but wrong decisions there.
Ooh,
I thought all of the bad decisions were erased by the fact that he's bringing your boy Otto back as hand of the king. I thought you would forgive him all for doing that.
You're right. One Otto.
Look,
corrects all wrongs.
You have been complaining that he's like, that you've been saying, and we're both saying, like, because we know what's happening with Team Black, like, hit them now. They're at their weakest. And he's like, I'm going to hit him. He's going to hit him at Harrenhal.
But we have given the war to the dragons. My hero, Criston Cole, he said that last week. Every fight now needs a dragon. And if, believe it or not, Helena, who Aegon's sister wife, she has a dragon she could ride. She sees the future. That would be great to have on a dragon rider out there fighting. Why not, Helena? You're taking care of your cricket cages. Get on a dragon and go fight. I think that would have been perfect.
I mean, I'm arguing with you about whether I think what he did was wrong or right. That was your favorite scene. I can see that was a great scene because he just cut a swath through everybody.
Love it. Yeah.
I thought the scene between Alicent and her brother could have gotten there. It was a sweet scene, but it was okay.
No, I agree.
The scene between Mysaria and Rhaenyra certainly got there. Ms. Catfish was like, they are doing a lot of smelling of each other. So that scene was interesting, but there wasn't really a scene for me. If it would be one, it would be the one that you mentioned. Just Aemond, just like, he's like, I'm going to settle into this. No, I'm not going to settle into this. I'm just going to make 12 decisions.
Settle. To hell with that. I love it. So good. All right, Catfish. Listeners, we want to know. We say it all the time. We need you to subscribe. We need you to like. We need you to comment. We need you to reach out to us at PHQ. But really, we want you to engage with us and use your little gray cells to come up with why was Aegon's plan wrong? What was right? I think Catfish is right. The positive thing is like, hey, Kristen Cole, get out there and fight. Let's fight now. So I do agree with that, Catfish. You've talked me back from the edge.
All right, well, Bubba, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the episode, we need our listeners' help to make a podcast entertaining again. So I will read match game question number 2, and Bubba, you can answer, and then I'll answer, and then we'll go to the funny answers, our listeners.
Okay.
Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with a dragon, and his attempt was blank. All right. Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with a dragon, and his attempt was
cooked.
Oh. I think the answers are going to be along a theme here. Bubba, go ahead and read the question, and I will give you my answer.
Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with a dragon, and his attempt was
not rare.
Well, we've had so many of these. So many people are being cooked. There's like one question a week is about who got kicked this week. So good, Catfish. I think I'm going to go to our good friend at Pat Spinagle, at Patman23 on Twitter, because he had a great one, I thought. You ready?
I'll read it. Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with a dragon, and his attempt was
an unexpected reunion with his Lord Father. And so if you remember back in episode 4, his father lost his head. Very, very good, Patman23. I am very proud that you are always doing callbacks. That's one thing Patman is great about is, pretty good. Okay. You ready for some more? How about our good buddy Nicholas Fortuna? You ready?
All right, yeah.
Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with the dragon, and his attempt was shot down in flames.
These are all so close.
Oh, I know. How about Endless
before
Mike?
The dragon?
Oh, before the dragon, yeah.
Before the dragon, Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with the dragon. His attempt was
absolute
fire.
How about Dooley's Last Flags? His attempt was enough to get him fired.
Now I like this. Now we've got Nicole at Nightwolf Nim goes. It's a little bit different. His attempt was rejected after being trolled by Sea Smoke. Absolutely, that is the Dragon Con of which I speak. And Jack Klompus, he's my spiritual. He's my spiritual soul brother. He said his attempt was the invention of Darkland jerky.
Okay, how about our new hero on all these, Jaguar Lifer? His attempt was, what's the opposite of a colder shoulder? And hey, Endless Mike with a classic. At Endless Mike03 on Twitter. You ready? His attempt was a flame out.
Oh, you know what?
That's good. That's really good. Listeners, we are reading these and retweeting these, and they're on Instagram and Threads and everything all week, and we love the answers. In fact, what I love most is that, we have this little bell when we have a match and we ring it. And last week, Harley Camille, at Harley Camille on Twitter, she reached out and she said, I matched Bubba with chicken fried while listening to the podcast. We want you to match with us at PHQ, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. We love all of these answers. Woo!
If they come in through the week, we will read them on next week's podcast. But now, Bubba, it is time for us to recap this episode we both were thrilled by.
Hey. Listen, once again, there's great stuff in here. Catfish, do you want to go to, as we always do, Team Green or Team Black? The blacks, the greens.
Oh, boy. Well, the blacks took it on the chin except for the very end again. So let's talk
Okay.
about them first because,
Okay. Yeah,
again,
sure.
I want to add on a positive note here, if there is one.
All right. So, well, I think even though I'm not sure we saw much from him this week outside of a couple of scenes, but I think just Corlys wearing the badge, Corlys being in that meeting as Hand of the Queen, I think that's that's a positive. That's a win for them, even if this week it didn't pay off too much. And Rhaenyra comes in. This is her Kingsguard member, Stefan Darklin. He is the one who accompanied her to the Sept when she went and had that illicit secret meeting with Alicent. And so she pulls him forward and says, hey, you've got the Darklins and the Targaryens have noble blood. And as soon as I heard this, I literally wrote in the show notes, oh no. Oh no. Catfish, what did you think when she says, hey, buddy, you want to claim a dragon? You've got some Targaryen in your DNA.
Things have to turn for Team Black. They look so bad. It's pitch black at Team Black. I still thought there was no way that this first attempt was going to be successful. So same as you, I thought, well, this guy's had a good run on this show.
Hey, start doing more auditions, buddy. You're gonna be freed up for a bit. And it's highly unlikely you'll show up in a flashback of Daemon's dreaming.
Oh my God.
Yes. Well, do you think Sea Smoke, hold on, should we call out Sea Smoke? Did Sea Smoke fake him out a bit? Like, hey, here's my saddle right here. Here's my saddle right here.
Okay, here's what I'm possibly thinking. First of all, the entire time he's doing it, I'm like, bro, you gotta bow up here.
That's completely
true. He was showing weakness. So I think he was being trolled the whole time, but when he stepped forward, he didn't step forward with any confidence. Even when he said his line, which I can't exactly remember, it was like said in relief. So even though I think he was being trolled the whole time, he brought it on himself.
Well, you say he didn't step up with confidence, and I completely agree. He wasn't entirely confident. But that whole thing makes me think about the end of the episode. Addam maybe had a bit of confidence after they cut away from him. You know what I mean? Addam was running for his life. And theoretically, he's that dragon's dragon rider. So it's okay to show confidence a little bit and then...
Yeah, I mean, I think you can overcome it with confidence. To me, it seems like the way they played it anyway, I saw everything I needed to see. I don't feel like I missed the end of Addam. Addam's was, in his eyes, you saw, we recognize each other.
Oh, okay, I like that.
There was a connection between them. So, yes, I think either that kind of a connection has to be there, or you have to really show like, these are dragons.
Yep.
Either they need to have a connection or they need to have somebody who's strong. They don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like they got a rep to carry, right? They can't have some wimp on their back.
One time. Come on.
Yeah. All right, one time.
Let me ride one time.
Well, okay, one time, but not this time.
Let me say, Stefan tried to ride Sea Smoke. He became Night Smoke. He didn't do too well. Let's go ahead, if it's okay, Catfish, and rather than just continuing kind of linearly through the blacks, let's get all Daemon stuff out. And before we even really dive into it, I've kind of been saying, I'm not so sure about this Daemon stuff. I read the book. I realized that the way this book is written, sometimes characters just kind of hang out in places and you don't hear from them because the story's taking you to other places. This is now possibly 4 straight episodes of Daemon just cold chilling and having dreams at Harrenhal.
Then don't show him that much. We don't.
That's what I would think.
We don't need to see the whole thing. The only thing I enjoyed tonight was, Bubba, we have talked about with Daemon, there are several things that we think he's done or he said that haven't really been confirmed. Yep. So I thought we were going to get a confirmation tonight when Viserys is like, did you say air for a day? We don't even get that, Bubba. If we're going to go visit over these scenes again, let's get something different.
Well, okay, how about this?
Mm-hmm.
When he snaps out of his dream And that was almost a line for line from Viserys of what he said to Daemon back in season 1, episode 1. He's like, hey, like it's all the same. Admittedly, the scene of him crying there on the throne was different when Daemon is trying to get out the door and can't get out the door. But it's pretty much exactly the same. But how about this? Daemon kind of wakes from this dream. He holds a knife to your almost boy, Simon Strong's mouth and throat. Simon gives him, this is why did I go Simon this week? He gives him the shh. But Daemon is nuts. Whatever your game is, Strong, your king is on his guard. Why is he suspecting Simon Strong and not this woman who can call a friggin' owl to land on her hand, man?
She's clearly what I like to call WW.
WW?
Yeah, witchy woman. And so if you're going to blame anybody, you would blame her. I mean, he does say to her later on when she goes out, when he has the conversation with her, he does say, someone's poisoning my food or yes, something. And it's like, he should be accusing her. He's not. But then she calls him out. I did say last week, I enjoyed that everyone is basically dissing Daemon to his face.
Good.
She super calls him out. She says basically, when times of trouble, you bail, you out. He's out. And then she says, you're not the player, but a piece on the board. I mean, the old Daemon, we knew that would be it. That'd be it. Right. He's killed wives for less. Those are women he theoretically loved.
Okay, well, since we're talking about Alice here, Alice Rivers means she was a bastard from the Riverlands. There are a couple things that make your ears prick up in this episode. Okay. To be honest, she's been the one, like you said, feeding, putting, ointments and stuff on Daemon, helping him sleep, all this craziness. But one is that she tells Daemon, she's like, hey, what should you do? Do nothing. In 3 days' time, the winds will shift. And then we later find out, hey, the old man Tully passed away. Everybody was trying to help him. Even Alice tried to help him. And then it didn't work. And now he's dead. And you're like, Alice, what are you doing, girl? And then now this is really putting 2 and 2 together and really kind of going out there in QAnon or a Song of Fire, a Song of Ice and Fire non-theories. But what did Larys say? Larys said, yeah, my dad, when he saw my foot when I was born, he thought somebody here had put a curse on me. Somebody had done something to my foot. And you're like, well, how old is Alice compared to Larys? Yeah, she does. But once again, it's right. Accused somebody of the household of casting spells to make his foot so mangled. If that's true, Alice, I love you. You're perfect. Don't ever change. Don't do anything to me. Catfish, this'll also be maybe terrible to say before we finish up Daemon. A lot of times, let's be honest, there was thirst everywhere. Back in Game of Thrones, you would see people thirsting for Jon Snow and Robb Stark and all the hunks, or thirsting for Daenerys, or thirsting for Marjorie Tyrell as these beautiful women. Any thirst you got for Alice Rivers? Do you like anybody who can make you see things? Who's your dealer? You got any thirst for a woman with dark raven hair?
That's the problem. When you date someone who's crazy, it's a wild ride, but then it's tough to get off, and then you don't know how you're going to escape, Bubba. So, it just depends on if you care what happens to you when it's all over, because it's probably going to end real bad.
Listeners, we're trying to spice up an episode. Maybe we didn't feel as strongly as we did. So we're going to throw thirst out a lot. So if you have any thirst, we'll just keep going through them. So once again, maybe Daemon is turning a corner because he's acting better in the dreams. He's trying to comfort his brother. His brother's wife passed away back in season 1, episode 1, and Viserys is mourning it. And Daemon acts in a way he didn't act back then. He comforted his brother. He wasn't out at the cat house. He was there comforting his brother. Now, possibly, he feels like, okay, I've done everything wrong. He does have an opportunity. He learned that the Tullys aren't the richest, they're not the strongest, but they somehow kind of can organize and keep all the river lords in line. Mm-hmm. There's a chance that Daemon has gone through this craziness, and we as an audience have gone through this, but that he'll come out the other side stronger. Will that make it, for how strong? There you go. Will that make this worth it, Catfish? What do you think?
We're talking about Daemon right now, but when we cover the rest of the storyline, we're going to talk about Rhaenyra talking about Daemon a whole bunch, and everybody talking about Daemon. So if this gets us to the point where Daemon is like, all right, I'm cool with where things are, because they need him, and they need him back at, without it being petulant. So I'm not fully convinced that he's on the path of healing, Bubba. I'm not as convinced as you are.
No, let me say, I'm not convinced either. I'm just trying to think, maybe this is a season-long journey. I mean, that would mean there are only 2 episodes left. You would think that theoretically this story has to have some sort of point of turning, but maybe I'm assuming. Let's get to it. Let's get to the Corlys's, as they call them, bastard sons. There's first scene where Corlys asks Alan, "Hey, Alan, join me." And Alan, you really don't like your dad if you don't want people to even see that you've got his hair. You wear a hat rather than, I haven't had a chance to shave and hide my hair. I'm going to wear a hat so people don't see I'm taking after dad.
This continues his, in the first season, in the beginning of the season, he was reluctant to accept praise when his brother Addam, now a badass dragon rider, was like, hey, this is great news. He's like, no, you don't want to get wrapped up with these people. And then here, just to kind of continue that, when the two of them talk, again, Addam is like, this is great. Things will be great for us. Well, they'll be great for you anyway. And Alan is still like, nah, I don't want to. And Alan says, you're never going to get recognized.
Yep.
That's almost like a big wink to us in the audience. You're never going to get recognized. Oh, that is going to happen. And then to follow that up, we see Addam sees Sea Smoke flying around. He's running. Sea Smoke catches up to him because he's like, bro, you are for me.
We're doing this, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's no such thing as no means no. He's like, you and I are doing this 110%. Does that excite you that, hey, these gentlemen are bastards, and even a bastard can claim a dragon? And so we often talk about the small folk rising up. Well, here is literal small folk taking control of a nuke, buddy. What do you think?
This is not the kind of openness we see to bastards hundreds of years later in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
So it is interesting and unexpected. I'm down with it. Give them all the firepower they want. Now, Bubba, I've got another question about a dragon. Let's move to, we've got some other pieces that are sort of being slowly moved off the board. Yeah. That's Rhaenyra and Joffrey. They're in the Vale. That's their layover before they go to Pentos.
Well, with the Microsoft crashing, all the ships are down and they can't travel.
Sure.
Suitcases are lost.
She's gonna have a whopping 6 people sent to protect her. I'm not quite sure I trust, but as she's walking with Joffrey, she sees a burnt sheep. Yep. And Rhaenyra's like, whoa, you lied to me.
Yeah, hey.
There's a dragon, and the response is it's a wild dragon.
Yeah.
And now, Bubba, wasn't there talk, and again, you know how I barely miss things. Wasn't there talk earlier that Corlys was saying somebody couldn't ride a dragon? Was that Rhaenyra?
Rhaenyra tried to get on a dragon, and she failed.
So I'm wondering if she's going to catch a ride on this wild dragon. So now we're just going to add, keep on adding dragons.
Keep on bonding.
But in the meantime, she's on a super slow boat to China, aka Pentos.
Well, remember, she was a kid in Pentos for a bit of her life in season 1. We saw them there in one episode. Yeah, this is a wonderful question. Joffrey, the namesake of this podcast, he's theoretically 10 years old at least. What do you think of Joffrey? Is he look like he could grow up to be like his Grace King Joffrey Baratheon, Catfish? What do you think?
He's supposed to be 10?
Pretty sure, yeah.
That kid needs to get on a stretching rack ASAP.
Those poor guys. How about this, Catfish?
Yeah.
Lady Jane Eyre, very skinny. Any thirst for her? We're trying to find thirst.
You know what? No, I wasn't feeling it for her. For me,
Okay.
yeah. It would be the crazy one. Let's do this.
How about for our ladies or people who like men? Addam or Alan? Which one are you going to thirst over?
You got to go with the guy with the bling, right? The dragon.
The dragon, yeah, exactly
and he's,
right.
And
Addam,
he's got
you
hair,
got
and
it.
he's got all those Milli Vanilli royalties as well.
Stop being so cold.
All right, so then we got Rhaenyra.
Yeah, let's go to Rhaenyra.
She's bitching and moaning about, like, everyone's talking about Daemon. Yep. I'm so tired of people saying the word Daemon.
She slapped a member of her small council. She slapped Lord Celtigar. Youch.
Yes.
And not verbal slapping like some others got slapped, verbally slapped in this episode. This was a literal slap.
She said he was lucky he didn't lose his tongue. People are not afraid of her. So she needs Daemon. And then when she's talking to Jace, Mysaria comes in and she's like, the gift is planned for tonight, and we have to hope that it's like dark skies or blustery or something. And so we're like, what's going on there? We'll talk about that later when we get to that one.
But Rhaenyra is always just kind of, and this is unfair. You know, I don't want to say it's because it's a woman doing it. I think a man, we're talking about Daemon kind of moping and moaning. Rhaenyra is always moaning. She has plenty of reason to, but the show really makes you like her. I mean, here we have Mysaria pretty much, telling her, I choose you because you're really good. And so the show wants us to be Team Black, be on Rhaenyra's side. But as I've always been, when I keep saying I'm Team Green, it's because this is an entertainment show, and her constantly suffering and not having new things, especially this season, it's tough to be on Team Black for me. I'm still Team Green.
I kind of agree with you. And then, but you know what, this is, then we have a scene that I briefly considered as one of my favorite sines.
Okay.
Mysaria and Rhaenyra.
Hold on.
Super long, yeah.
What did you think of Mysaria's history? This is a tragic, horrific history.
Unfortunate.
Right? I mean, oh my Lord.
Super unfortunate.
When you tell that horrific story, does that make you want to kiss somebody?
I mean,
here's the worst thing that ever has happened to me or anybody.
It definitely makes you want to sniff someone a little bit, and for a long time, and then do some
Catfish.
Bubba, I just have to note for listeners, sometimes your show notes make me laugh.
What do
because
you mean?
You put in here, you describe the end of the scene as they hug it out, and that's severely underselling what happened there.
They hug it out.
All right,
Rhaenyra and Mysaria hug it out.
Good talk, bro. Good talk.
I'm trying to throw out match games. I'm taking notes. Throw me a bone here, man.
They hug it out.
They hug it out.
Good. So
did you think this was earned? They've had a lot of scenes. We talk about, we've got all these scenes of Daemon at Harrenhal. What's it leading to? And I guessed possibly a redemption. What do you think this was earned? They've had so many scenes of Rhaenyra taking Mysaria's advice. Do you feel like this was earned? Like this was a natural place that this went?
I think so. I mean, here, think about it. I mean, she even talks about it here, and we knew it all along that, like, Daemon just thought of her as something to possess, but he didn't want to be possessed. She never had an equal relationship with him. And so this is the only person right now that she can trust, that cares for her, that believes in her. So, I mean, I definitely think she's in a position where she needs someone to believe in her and to have kind of a connection with somebody. So I think it's definitely earned on that point.
Listeners, we want to hear, what do you think? What do you think is this romance? Is this, not a romance? Is it a one-night hookup? Is it natural? Are you glad it happened? Tell us down in the YouTube comments. Reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, @PPHQ.
Let's go to your favorite team.
Yeah.
Team Green.
Team Green. It is. People, once again, we said we got blocked on Twitter because last year we would tweet out Team Green stuff. I think Team Green has gained some people. People, I think, have grown to like Aegon, even with Toasty injured, will never heal Aegon. I think people have done it. So let's get to it. So we actually don't even start in King's Landing. We go to maybe the only other location where we see Team Green people, and that's in the Westerlands. The Lannister army has marched from Casterly Rock, which is on the coast, and pretty much gone to their vassal, their House Lefford, who is a vassal of the Lannisters, pretty much as far east as they can go. It's this castle called the Golden Tooth. And they're like, hey, and House Lefford comes out and they're like, hey, we've got 200, 500 soldiers, whatever they said. We're ready to march.
We're on our horses. We got our sword shield. They're all up. Let's do this. And instead, Lannister's like, no, I think we're going to enjoy your food and women for a little while. And the look on that guy's face is precious. It's just like, oh no, this is not. We did not expect house guests. This is gonna be horrible.
Well, let's tackle it from two thoughts.
Yeah.
I already said it, but do you think it's wise of Jason Lannister to say, yeah, we're not exactly going to march until we have, protection from the skies with Vhagar? Is it smart, or should it be like, we've got to move, we've got to go. These river lords aren't organized right now. Go and kill them. What do you think?
I'm just going to quote a very super intelligent person who said earlier in this podcast that it's a dragon war now, and you don't go to any fight without a dragon.
Sneak attack. All right, how about this? The Lannister army is bringing their sigil is a lion, so they're bringing caged lion for #reasons. What do you think about this?
Listen, Bubba.
Yeah.
You are a famous supporter of the Georgia Bulldogs.
That's right.
And they do not take the field unless Uga is
dog.
there in his little crate. They got LSU's got Mike the Tiger.
Yep.
The Colorado
Texas
Buffaloes
has
have
got
a crazy
Bevo.
buffalo.
Yeah.
Yep. Listen, you do not take the field without your mascot, Bubba.
What do you got? That lion versus any dragon?
I'm taking any dragon, except for the one that the kid was playing with.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Now, Catfish, people online are calling this episode, they're saying that the title for this episode was Smallfolk. And even though we're really focused on Team Green, we're going to include everybody in King's Landing, even if right now they're not on Team Green. Now, we had this kind of, for lack of a better word, crossover. Hey, let's all meet in the tavern. So we've got Ulf, this guy who has claimed to be a bastard Targaryen himself. We've got Sylvie, the girl Aemond goes to comfort himself in the adult entertainment house, in the cat house. And we've got the people working there at the tavern. We always talk about Smallfolk. The episode is titled Smallfolk. Did you like this scene showing people just getting frustrated? And Sylvie comforts Aemond. She is a sex partner with Aemond, for money, admittedly. But she's talking trash about how there's no food. My girls go to the castle, they get food. I got nothing.
This is dangerous talk and seems over the top. Yeah. And seems to me fairly clear that Mysaria is behind this, which is fascinating.
A good call. That is
because
a smart
she's
call.
like, it sounded to me like the food was, shortly after the scene, she said something to Rhaenyra like, yeah, the people are getting riled up. So that's a fascinating, she's she's a mistress of whispers. She knows how to do things. Yeah, but boy, when Sylvie described the dinner at the palace, I was like, how do I catch an invite to this? I got an
old country buffet, Golden Corral. Like, look at this buffet. Look at all this food.
Look at all the gravy on those biscuits.
Don't get me too hungry. We got to finish the podcast. All right.
Okay.
Now people are starving, and yet we're seeing sheep brought into the castle, man.
Mm.
While this is going on, and admittedly, I'm pretty sure it's Tytos Lannister is telling this to his king, or it might have been Ironrod, I forget, saying, hey, small folk are getting restless. Larys, who I think has done a great job so many times. Larys, to me, maybe hasn't really built great inroads with Aemond, and I thought he did a terrible job pitching himself as hand. He says, hey,
I feel like this is the first misstep we've seen Larys make.
Yep. No, I agree.
And the good thing is,
yeah,
Aemond let him know very clearly that it was a misstep. There's no doubt in Larys's mind, which is why he's like, this didn't work. Let me go give my Newt Rockney speech to Aegon and see if I can get him on my side.
Yeah, he picked. He's like, I've got no play here with Aemond. Let me go to the actual king, and let's just jump straight to that scene. He's pretty much like, no milk of the poppy for you. You're not gonna run ever again. The only thing you're gonna have left is your mind, and your mind's got to be straight and not addled by heroin. So is Larys making probably the only move available to him now? And I think he does a good job of it, even though Aegon was kind of fought him for a bit, it even felt like in that scene.
When somebody calls you a toad, there's really no way of getting back there. So that's really his only move. I don't know why he feels he needs to go that high. We've talked about this before. What's the better job for him? Being the Master of Whispers is an excellent job. But to risk that job by aligning yourself with Aegon is a little dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, he even says it. Your brother rules in your place now, which means your life is in danger. He's telling the current king, dude, you're in danger. Now, by saying him, and that feels like a truth, sometimes the smartest thing to say is the truth. He's got to hope Aegon can come back. But I think that's the right move. I think that's completely the right move.
Well, it is dangerous. Now, when Aemond checks in on him, that is so funny. He's like, what do you remember? And then, like I said, he really shows Aegon that he is in a dangerous and he's exposed for sure.
Let's go to Alicent and let's do her storyline. So she's had this kind of been attacked from her now in control Aemond. She does a bit of mothering for Aegon. That's pretty good. She hears through her, we find out that, like you think the Greens have their territories. Like, hey, we're from the Reach. Everything's perfect in the Reach. But if you remember back in season 1, when Viserys died, there was this person on the small council, an old guy named Lord Beesbury. And Kristen Cole, how to say it gently, he kind of sat him down extra hard and his head went straight into his small council ball and Beesbury's dead. And it turns out, guess what? There's a war in the Reach because the Beesburys are upset that their lord was murdered. So it's not perfect anywhere. Alicent talks to her brother Gwaine. And you mentioned it, but let's talk through it a bit. Gwaine, he's telling her, hey, you were always Dad's favorite. Boy, kids always have this talk, don't they? She asks about her son, the son we've never seen, that was never even referred to in season 1. We find out this is a 16-year-old kid, Dara.
10 and 6.
10 and 6. He's 16. And Gwaine makes him sound great. He's not only good with his sword as a fighter, he's playing the lute. He's got a dragon, for goodness sakes. And poor Alicent's like, maybe he's perfect because I didn't raise him. Ouch. Ouch. She even goes so far as to say kindness is a quality that I find lacking in his brothers. Whoa.
He gives her an out. When he says, maybe this is the Red Keep is not a great place to raise kids.
Yeah, and she's saying it like she was a single parent. Viserys, who so many people love.
She was a single parent.
She was a single parent.
He was bedridden.
Right. He was pretty not there. Even when he was somewhat, competent and able to move around, he was not there as a parent. Terrible.
Now, Bubba, so
Yeah.
when she's finished talking, we see Kristen Cole. He's over there expectantly,
Mm-hmm.
And
how would you say they parted?
Well, Bubba, let's just be clear about this. One thing we didn't talk about was in the small council when they talked about marrying her off. And once again, Larys and Kristen Cole, let's just say, did not object to that suggestion. So basically, he is in this. Kristen Cole is like, well, in what I have to call the super doghouse. Man. He's riding on the top of the Romney's family car, and
hey now.
And so he is not getting any love. And Bubba, I thought I was so proud of myself because last week I predicted that s2e06 would be the next big name person to die, and I thought this could be it, especially when someone gets, it's like, oh, I didn't say anything until last time I saw him. He could still get God in the next episode, but I thought it's just coming true for me. So we'll see. But she's in a tough spot now. Yes. You know what she needs? She needs her own version of Mysaria. That's what she needs.
Well, she takes her daughter, and we know Alicent has been very religious this whole time. The faith of the Seven, which is not the old gods, but the kind of dominant religion in most of Westeros. It used to be based, kind of the head of it was based in Old Town, where she's from. She's very religious, but she kind of even says, hey, Brother Gwaine, may the Seven look over you and keep you safe. And he kind of was like, forget the Seven, say that to the dragons. And then she brings Helena. She's like, hey, let's go light a candle for your brother husband. And that's when we got to go a bit further into the Smallfolk, the title of this episode. And Hugh is another guy. He's another Smallfolk member. He pets the rat catcher's dog. The rat catcher's dog, there's no food anywhere, but that dog is still alive, still doing well.
Ship landed with some fresh fruit on it. And then someone looked out and we saw some more boats floating in. Feels like they didn't have enough money for CGI there when we saw 2 more boats floating in. But apparently a lot more boats floated in. So this is what's happening is people are going down to the seashore and they're picking up food. And of course, it is a food riot. People are yelling out, Queen Rhaenyra, she still cares about us. She sent us food.
And they're throwing fish like they live at a bay. They could freaking fish all they want. People are throwing fish at Alicent.
They're tired of fish, Bubba.
Why do you think Red Lobster's in trouble? Because of these jerks in King's Landing.
Your boy earlier says it. He's like, give me anything but the damn fish. I'm sick of fish. So Hugh, our boy Hugh, we could have called him, we no longer refer to him as Double H, Hero Hugh. Yeah. He now just straight up punches somebody for a bag of what looks like lettuce. I mean, look, if you're going to send food, send me something that's not a vegetable. I mean, I guess it's hard to send raw meat because you don't know how long that'll last. But anyway, this is the plan.
Well, maybe he's a proto Popeye. He's like, that looks like spinach.
Oh, man. So then they start rioting.
Oh, this riot.
More, right. And this is great. So they try to get Alicent and they're like, we have got to get the 2 of you out of here. They're surrounded. One of the guys, now several mistakes were made here. One of the guys overreact. Someone was reaching, and I'm not even sure whether I'd have to watch it again, but I think the guy that was actually reaching for Alicent was not one of the rabble rousers. He was like, oh, my Queen Alicent. And so for his trouble, trying to put his grubby little peasant hands on the Dowager Queen, he
Stumpy
gets his
McGee.
arm cut off, Stumpy McGee. And then
walk it off.
Then Alicent says, after they're surrounded by other people, put away your swords. That is not the time to put away your swords, is when you're being mobbed by people. That is the time to take out your swords.
Listen,
so they get hustled away.
And then one hand has been cut off. Now put away your swords.
And then it's so great. You hear they probably dubbed this in afterwards. Someone's like, because they're going away in the cart with the horses, and you hear this, run them over if you have to.
And I'm pretty sure, Catfish, that some of these Kingsguard who cut off that guy's hand, and literally got God at the end of this scene. I'm pretty sure these are Aegon's buddies, the King Bros, not the King Guards, but the King Bros, and they may be the King Bro no mo's. they got God, man.
All right, Bubba. Woo, we got through that episode.
We did.
There was a lot going on. So, Bubba, as a delight for me, a treat for me, let's do match game 3. So I'll read the question and you give your answer. All right. Queen Rhaenyra has taken Mysaria's counsel. Now Mysaria is offering her grace her blank. Okay, Bubba.
Well, already?
Yeah.
That was the shortest theme song I've ever heard. Come on.
Queen Rhaenyra has taken Mysaria's counsel. Now Mysaria is offering her grace her
backstory and her backside.
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one, Bubba. All right, my answer is a lot simpler. Read the question. I'm ready.
All right, Queen Rhaenyra has taken Mysaria's counsel. Now Mysaria is offering her grace her
tongue.
Definitely. How about tonsils?
All right, Bubba, let's see if
oh my
either
goodness.
one of us got a match. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Kelly Underfoot. Oh my goodness. Come strong on this one.
Yep.
She says Queen Rhaenyra has taken Mysaria's counsel. Now Mysaria is offering her grace her white worm. And she said that's actually the name of her marital aid.
She's Mysaria the white worm. And this is so close. But our buddy Jack Klompus at BT Max said Mysaria offered her grace her white worm spittoon.
Oh,
so I'm saying that's close enough. That's pretty
good.
That's pretty good.
All right, here we go. I think this is kind of a match to me. Okay. Before the Dragon podcast says Mysaria is offering her tongue, lips, and other parts.
Whoa, hello.
All right, and Dooley's left legs. Dooley's left legs. Always, you know, another beautiful callback to something we've been talking about on the podcast. He said Mysaria is offering her mouth of alternating accents, Moorish magic.
Let the accents go 1 week. Dooley's so
good. Never.
This is like 4 a.m. for Dooley. Incredible. All right. Okay.
All right. Nathan Dawkins says Mysaria is offering her pink dragon wings.
Oh, man.
Man. I think Patman, buddy Pat Spinagle at Patman23 is just describing what happened to him while he was watching the scene because she's offering her spit takes.
Take her spit is what she's saying. Okay, Nicole had a good one. Hey, Mysaria is offering her grace her many other talents. Boy, way to keep it clean.
With a winking emoji. And Gen X Cat Mom says she's offering her triple D.
Triple D's?
Doting dental domination.
Wow. So good. Oh, wait.
Endless Mike 3, she says she's
Endless.
offering her Lord's kiss.
Oh, that is truly a Song of Ice and Fire approved answer, Mike. Wonderful.
All right, here we go. Nick Fortuna says Mysaria is offering her dragon pit. And then coming over the ropes.
Oh my gosh.
Skylar at Akadare says Mysaria is offering her WAP. And you better know what that stands for. What?
We've officially sex position. This is sex.
Bubba, I think you got the most responses ever to one of your questions. Bring back more steamy stuff. That's what we say.
I'm saying, you know, on Match Game, it was always something simple where you could just say whoopee. And now instead, we are going, oh my God, listeners, you guys are 10 out of 10. Episode, maybe you loved, maybe you didn't love. These answers, as always, 10 out of 10. Put your ball in the dish. It's time for the Small Council debate. Question 1, Small Council. Does Corlys's bastard Addam, becoming a dragon rider, turn the war for Rhaenyra in Team Black? Catfish, what is your response?
That is a definite no. I mean, I will say they're lucky they found someone who really wants to be recognized and is
Yes.
definitely on their team.
Yes.
They got super lucky with that. Now, he might ask for some stuff, a real last name, maybe a castle to be named later.
Please.
But
Yeah.
he's going to help. But I think we need more than a guy who's just learning how to ride a dragon. We're going to need some other dragon riders. This is not going to turn the war all by itself. That's my opinion.
Do you really even learn to ride so much as, yeah, take me where you want to go? I mean, I think it could. I think
to me
it could.
that Rhaenys was directing her dragon.
Oh, that's true. That's completely true. Well, they have reins on them. You know, they do
Yeah.
have like a full. And in George R.
But
Martin,
Rhaenys was in charge of. Rhaenys was in charge of the strategy for that fight.
That's
So
true.
for sure, I don't think Addam's ready for. He has to take Fighting on Dragon Tactics 101 class.
well, one of the things I love that George R. R. Martin actually did was he explained that, you know, if you think about a horse, sometimes you hit a horse on the backside to make it run faster, or if you hit it on the right, it'll go to the left and vice versa. But the way George R. R. Martin created his dragon world is theoretically, if you hit them on the right, they turn to pain because they want to fight. So if you want to go right, you kind of whip them right.
To talk about this realistically is kind of silly, but
That's
one
us.
time I went on a safari
Yeah.
and like they were riding elephants and they had a very, very heavy thing that they're hitting the elephants with because their skin is so thick to get their attention.
Okay.
I'm just thinking for these dragons with their thick skin, like to get their attention, you have to have something real. You can't just like tap them like you can a horse.
No, that's 100% true. Let me answer the small council question, though. And that is that if we think about it, Rhaenyra has her dragon, which we hear is pretty big. We have Daemon's dragon, who we know is big. Neither of them as big as, obviously, the big dog Vhagar. But Jace has a dragon, but it's kind of small. Baela has a dragon. We saw it chase Kristen Cole and Gwaine to some trees. So I've already lost track how many that is. And now if Sea Smoke is going to be on her side, there's no guarantee that Addam just doesn't say, hey, I'm the dragon now. I'm a house now. See ya. But if Addam stays on her side, that's 5. And once again, even if Helena and Darian, the unseen Alicent kid, have dragons, with Vhagar, that makes 3. So it's currently 5-3. I hope I have these numbers right, listeners. And then, as you're right, if they're hinting that Rhaena can get a dragon, then 6-3. Can numbers make up for the girth of Vhagar? And maybe they can't. Let's be honest. Vhagar is just so big that maybe 6 against Vhagar would still lose. But, you know, maybe because Vhagar can only be in one place at one time. Maybe that's the big answer.
Right,
is that,
right.
You know, Vhagar's still the big dog, but if all these other dragons burn up all the troops, you know, like Kristen Cole and Jason Lannister's troops, maybe it could turn it. You would wonder. And as you said, just almost for dramatic tension, they need something to give the Blacks victory to make them seem competitive. How about that?
Absolutely. I agree with you. All right, Bubba, let's go to question 2.
Question 2.
Who you got? Aegon or Aemond?
We have seen people like Tyrion, evil Uncle Tyrion, survive the whole Game of Thrones. Ridiculous. And people would say maybe he doesn't have the physical stamina that somebody like the Hound in the Mountain, who didn't survive, spoiler alert, Game of Thrones. Aegon, right now, is certainly not the physical specimen and doesn't have the dragon that Aemond does. And so therefore, I'm going to pick Aemond. Aemond and Vhagar. I like Aegon, but I mean, if he's never going to run, who's even going to say he's ever going to walk? Do you see his leg, dude? Aemond.
Larys, people are going to cringe away from your hideous look. Once again, Larys, winner for the most inspirational speech.
Maybe Larys went to Aegon's side because he saw Aegon's foot was up, exposed, and he's like, "Oh, this is the team I'm joining."
Well, let's face it. the only people who are going to join Team Aegon now are going to be, this is going to be his Council of the Aggrieved. It's going to be, Aemond is going to have to piss off enough people that take over Aegon's side. I don't know if Aemond has Otto back. I mean, I just got to go with Aemond. He's my
listeners, who you got? Older brother Aegon, younger brother, but Vhagar riding Aemond. Who you got? Let us know. Woo, good question. All right, here we go. Question 3. If you were starving for food and got a single head of lettuce, would you eat it or throw it at whoever was responsible for you starving?
I've never been a veggie person to my detriment. And so my first option for veggies is always, if there's someone I can throw it at, I will throw. I will throw the veggies first. That's me.
Yeah, I went to Soup Plantation with you that one time, and we got thrown out.
I had some of their delicious pizza.
They still have Soup Plantations. It's a salad bar restaurant, listeners. So I don't know if they do nowadays because of COVID and stuff. Oh. I used to be this way, but I still could be this way. I used to go on trips to Europe all the time. I actually still go on trips to Europe all the time. But I went one time with my friend Laura to Europe. We were in Scotland and England. I would be so caught up in traveling and seeing all the sights that I would go without. I'd skip lunch. I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't even think about it. I'd be like, ooh, let's go see this castle. Let's do this. And Laura would just snap at me and go say, I am starving. What are you doing? And so if I was on this trip, I would throw that head of lettuce at her and say, I'm only in Scotland for a week. Come on, let's see this stuff. So I would eat lettuce. I do eat lettuce. I like salads, but you're right. It's wonderful. How about this? Are you vegan? You know anybody who's vegan? How long do you think you could go vegan? These people kept saying, I want meat. I want meat. Are you a carnivore catfish or are you a vegan?
I'm full on carnivore. I try to stay away from red meat, but carnivore, Bubba. All right, Bubba. So let's go to our team of the week. We got the greens, we got the blacks, and we got the strongs.
We're going off the board. I like it. Green, black.
I'm just saying. I give you your choice, Bubba. Who are you picking this week?
For the longest time, even in season 1, where the show really was saying the greens are the baddies and the blacks are the, noble people. But you know what? I'm going to go controversial and say, not only am I team green, there is a part of me that thinks, yes, Viserys, the king, said, Rhaenyra, you're my heir. But just as we're American, kings seem kind of silly. So who cares what the king says? Shouldn't it be whoever gets the votes, or in this day, whoever's strong?
It's not a democratic process, Bubba.
Right. I'm saying, but let me go even further. As a son, and the oldest son, as I actually am, if every oldest son throughout all of time in Westeros was given the seat, was given the title, was given all this stuff, in all these, small petty kings and all of the history of Westeros, every firstborn son, it's sexist, it's wrong, but every firstborn son was named the heir. And the first time you break it is for Aegon. How do you think Aegon would feel? He'd be like, wait, for all of history, the firstborn son gets it, and now because my dad doesn't, isn't even trying to be a dad to me, I don't get it? While once again, sexism is in this, patriarchy is terrible, I think it makes perfect sense for Aegon to be sick of this, for Alicent to say, hey, why doesn't my son get the thing that every other son has ever gotten? And so for that, listeners, once again, don't attack me on Twitter, but I am Team Green. Team Green. Boo.
Oh, absolutely. Team Green. Team Green, 100%. Team Green.
Yes.
Team Green. Listen, as soon as I don't cringe away from the TV set when Team Black's Daemon comes on, then maybe I'll go Team Black. But right now, it's just the more enjoyable Team Green. Now, Bubba, we also have an MVP of the week, and it does not need to be on your team that's black, green, or strong. You got an MVP for the week. Who is your MVP this week, Bubba?
even though I am always been tough these last few weeks on Daemon's storyline, I think it is being carried by the supporting cast of Alice and Simon Strong. And actually, to be honest, all these river folk are kind of interesting, and these rivermen, as they were referred to in the episode. So for that, I am going, I want to pick one. And you know what? I'm going to go with Alice. If Alice really did kill the old Grover Tully, and she's got owls coming to her, she's got the rogue Prince Daemon in her grasp. Daemon is asking her for help, no, counsel. I'm giving it to Alice Rivers. She's MVP of the week. She wins the week.
I'm going to slightly change it this week. I'm not going to make it my MVP of the week. I'm going to make it my winner of the week.
Ooh, winner of the week. Ooh, this is
my winner of the week is definitely, and it probably occurs. It was interrupted, but it's going to continue after the episode is over. So my winner of the week is Rhaenyra.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Addam. He got the dragon, but okay. Yeah, sure,
no. Yeah, sure. Anybody can get a dragon. You know how long it's been for Rhaenyra?
Hey, listeners, all must choose. Team Green, Team Black, Team Strong. I love that for these final 2 episodes that are going to come up in the next coming weeks, we can really choose a sign. We could choose the title of this episode, Team Smallfolk. Let's hear it. Who do you choose? We need comments. We need likes. Let's hear them. And we want to hear your MVPs too. And we care about your feedback so much that we're going to go to some of your feedback right now.
One of my favorite commenters that we have here, at Claus Sons, that's Satan Claus. Satan said, I'm going to start calling my wife's Thanksgiving Day turkey King Aegon. Burnt on the outside, raw in the middle.
Satan Claus, how could you? I'm Team Green. Hey, we love people not only on Twitter, on Facebook, on Threads, but also on Instagram, which normally, you don't have great talk in responses because it's all photos. Show me your photos. But Lord Commander Tom Snow wrote us on Instagram and he said, leave it up to the phrase, having to take a door off its hinges because they don't own a spare table. Yes. White trash phrase. I love it. Thank you so much. If you're on Instagram, prove me wrong. Keep giving us comments. We love it.
Yeah, one of our favorite commenters at Matt's Test Lab 1, Link Hogthrob.
Yes.
Who usually brings the comedy, is bringing some deeper thoughts here, which I love.
He's spitting straight up facts, man.
He said, upon further reflection, this is sort of shaping up to be mostly the guys versus girls between the Team Green and Team Black. At some level, I wonder if Alicent defects to Team Black. She's not super maternal at all. Having not read the books, I'm super tempted to see how this ends. Okay. I feel like she is kind of maternal.
Certainly in this episode, she took care of Aegon for a bit.
I mean, it is curious. She is being sidelined more and more, so that's an interesting thought.
Definitely, the women. Is there maybe Alice Rivers, who I just named MVP, is the one, but Game of Thrones, the original Game of Thrones, had women playing the game so well. You had Cersei. I know people didn't like her, but Cersei did play the game well. We had the Queen of Thorns playing it well. We had a lot of people playing the game. Do you think that, do we have a Cersei, a real evil woman on this show? And do we have a woman playing the game especially well? And maybe you would say Rhaenyra or Alicent. What do you think?
The only person who really seems to be playing the game well is Mysaria, but she's not playing two houses against each other. The problem we have on this show is we really seem to have two main houses and everybody else is subservient to those houses.
Oh, yeah, without question.
So it's really hard for people to be playing games, even as you said last week, that your insightful comment that like everyone gets killed by their not by their enemies, but by their fellow compatriots. I'm still not seeing a lot of interplay. I mean, really, the only person we see playing any kind of game whatsoever on Team Green is Larys.
That's true. He does well.
Team Black, the only person we're seeing play a different game is not even hidden. That's Daemon, and everyone knows that he's a wild card. So it's no surprise him doing something out of control would be no surprise. So there really isn't this like this delicious subterfuge,
Right.
internecine subterfuge in this show as there was on Game of Thrones.
100% true. Listeners, once again, a great comment gets us to think deep and hard. And even though we love, as you know, we love the match game, we love your insightful comments as well. And hey, Catfish, let's get to some of that match game question we got from last week. A wonderful answer. So you ready? The Maesters looked at good old King Aegon. They diagnosed that he'd been blanked. And on Instagram, we got Benny Bensta, who said they diagnosed he'd been double bead.
Double bead?
Badly barbecued.
Ho, ho, ho.
And hey, Catfish, we even, as I love to say, because we record this podcast right after the episode ends, we even got some answers for some of the earlier match games. You ready?
Tell me.
Sir Stefan Darkland tried to bond with a dragon, and his attempt was a fireable offense. That's a match.
Yes.
Gen
Are you
X,
sure we didn't read that earlier and that she's matching herself?
Catfish, Gen X Cat Mom just matched a fireable offense, and you remind me who said that previously.
Yeah, no.
Okay, way to not pay attention. The fireable offense before was from at Nathan Dawkin. We also have on this, read these others, Catfish.
All right, we've got two new answers to the. Aemond has an odd bedside manner with his brother Aegon. Some might call it, and Patman23 says, death bedside manner.
Very good.
And Gen X Cat Mom chimes in on this one. It says some might call Aemond's bedside manner triple B.
Triple B.
Belittling bad behavior.
Oh, that's, you know what? These brothers have come together. Hey,
wow.
Reach out to us all week long.
Okay.
And you can reach out to us individually and attack us for our terrible thoughts. Here I'm defending the patriarchy, saying Aegon should have had the throne. You can insult me, because I deserve it. My name's Bubba. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, at Fit and Trim. That's FITTENTRIM, at Fit and Trim on social media.
And I'm Catfish. You can hit me up on Instagram and Blue Sky at G to the man. That's GEETOTHEMAN. And we will talk to you next time on
the Joffrey of Podcasts. I bet it's messed up, but we were in sync. We were in sync.
No.